welcome. Now, they say the best things come in threes. And, well, one of the best things that is in threes is a trilogy. Now, I did speak about trilogies in our first season, but I feel I should do it again because there's one trilogy out there which sort of gets a little underrated, and it's always the one film which is seen as the best and the others aren't so good. Of course, I'm talking about the Honey, I films. Now you got Honey, I Shrunk the Kids, which came out in 1989, stars Rick Moranis, and still to this day has some outstanding effects, especially the Scorpion vs. Anti scene, which is like a throwback to the old stop-motion monster films. And of course it's a sad scene, because you get to love Anti, and then Scorpion comes in and kills. And it's sad. And of course, you got Wayne Szalinski, who's a inventor trying to get a shrink ray to work, but the laser is too hot, so every time he goes to shrink something, it makes it explode. So the neighbor, Ronnie, the younger brother, he is a baseball fan. He hits a baseball through the window, and that gets him part of the laser and causes everything, including him, the Nick and Amy and Russ Jr. They all get shrunk. So yeah, the Thompsons, they don't get along with the Szalinskis, but when their kids are missing, and then they find out they're shrunk, they start to become more friends. So the kids are lost in the backyard on this big adventure, and just seeing how they did it is awesome. Of course they did, like big versions of things on a soundstage, so, and front projection or rear projection for the B-ride. And you watch it today and you can see some little things that sort of stand out, but back then it would be like, whoa! So, similar to what they did with the Incredible Shrinking Man and the 50-foot woman, they do miniatures and whatnot, and, well, today, if this was made today, it'd be how Peter Jackson did The Hobbit and stuff. But, yeah, so, pretty good film. Like, as you can see here, they had, like, the bigger floorboards and the couch, and Wayne with all these wacky inventions for an awesome adventure. As you can tell, it's been so long since I've seen this film. It's by Disney, of course. The intro is animated. It's got a really awesome tune. Of course, yeah, you got Marcia Strassman, who plays Mrs. Szalinski. Nick Olvery, who was in Edward Scissorhands, he plays Nick. Amy O'Neill plays Amy. I personally don't like that. When someone has a name of the character they're playing, I've just never liked that. Like, Jack Nicholson plays Jack Torrance. Danny Lloyd plays Danny Torrance. Maybe it's just me. That'll be interesting. See someone who isn't scary play me. I can't really play myself. Though, today we're not talking... Shut up. When you think you're alone and everything's quiet, but you got things going on in the background, blame the dog. But you can't blame Quark. Cute dog. He finds out that the kids are shrunk, and then they come into the house later in the film. Now the bowl of milk scene is really, really well done. Imagine that, swimming in the big bowl of milk and floating on a big Cheerio. And then, of course, Nick almost gets eaten. Quark saves the day, and then the kids are unshrunk, and then Mr. Szalinski makes this giant turkey. So they become friends in the end with the neighbors. And then, in the early 90s, we got Honey, I Blew Up the Kid. Now, originally, this was just going to be about a big baby, but they saw potential in making a sequel, and we got it. So, Adam Selinsky is a new kid, and then the shrink machine has been taken to a new corporate business, and the boss of that is trying to get to work, but everything just doesn't work. So Wayne comes in and manages to get the shrink ray to be a lower upper ray. So it doesn't work at first, but it takes time. And whenever Adam's near an electrical appliance, he gets bigger. So how they accomplished this was they had like the green screen in front of Wayne and Nick, again played by Nick from like same actor returns, and yeah, so they're in front of a green screen and they got the little kid, and then other times it's like a really tall person, like a 7-foot person dressed up to look like Adam. So the effects in this are pretty good, and so the Selinskys have moved to Nevada, and Nick has this crush on this girl. He's working at a water park, and then he gets picked up, and he's like sort of embarrassed. Amy O'Neill returns, but she's only in it for a little bit. So it's good that they got most of the original cast back. So they're trying to find Adam, keep him safe, because the place that owns the shrinking machine, they want to find out. So the evil boss, John Shear, plays him. He was in Lewis and Clark. So he's trying to get Adam. He shoots him with this needle, hurts the baby, and then the mum, Mrs. Selinsky, gets grown. So she reunites, and then they save Adam. And it's a good, decent sequel. You know, like the intro's animated again, and it's quite funny. So you got the dad playing with big Adam, and he's getting pushed everywhere or through, and that pretty much happens in the movie. So Nick and Mandy, the babysitter, she comes, gets freaked out. She sees a giant baby. So her and Nick spend time in Adam's pocket, and again with all the big props and effects, they do pretty well. The editing's quite fun. It's got the late great Lloyd Bridges, isn't it? So he's the president of the company. So later on, he fires John Shear's character and then gives Wayne a big promotion in downtown Vegas. So it references Godzilla, as all big character films do. And yeah, so it's a bit fun. And then in 1997, we got the often hated, but I feel very underrated, Honey, We Shrunk Ourselves. Like, this was to be in the theater, but Disney said direct to DVD. This is the last role by Rick Moranis. He retired after this, but he came back last year. Did the Darth Helmet voice for an episode of The Goldberg, so he came out. And there's some slight rumor he may return in the proper Ghostbusters film next year. So this extends the Wayne family. You got a new actress playing Diane. That's it, Diane Selinsky, originally played by Marcia Strassman, who passed away a few years ago. And it's got Adam all grown up, played by Bug Hall, and he was in The Little Rascals. So it's got Brother Gordon and his wife. So the two mums want to go away for the weekend, and the hubbies are left to look after the kids, but they get offered to go to the space shuttle. So the kids think they go there, but no, the dads get shrunk, the uncle gets really mad, and then it's the parents all shrunk and go around the house. You can tell this was direct to DVD because the effects aren't as outstanding. They look not convincing enough, but there are some shots that are really well done. Especially the spider scene. It's probably the best effect. It looks like a real Daddy Longlegs, whereas the Scorpion and Ant were puppets and stop motion. But the spider scene and how they're going up the cabinet in the kitchen looks really convincing. The car in the track, really well done too. So many shots look out there and like you can tell it's fake. The Operation Green Lantern thing, it's a special juice which you drink and then it makes you glow. And that effect is reasonable. So yeah, Honey, We Shrunk Ourselves, it wraps up this trilogy quite well. So it really is a pretty good trilogy. Then there was a TV show, Honey, I Shrunk the Kids, and then there was a ride called Honey, We Shrunk the Audience. And there wasn't really a game, so that's that franchise. It's a pretty good trilogy, and like with every trilogy, the third one's hated, the second one's either seen as an improvement or not so good, but the original is favoured, so... And I shrunk anything else I could talk about, so I'll scare you later.